Yes, the lovely lady. This meeting is being recorded. All right, so hi everybody. I'm Nathan, but feels like it might be easier if you guys call me Ken, so I'll probably change my name too. But yeah, anyway, just you can address me as Ken or Nathan. Anything is fine. All right. Let me change it into. There we go. So uh, this is CS97. So it's all about data science, etc., machine learning, and some math. And in the yeah, for my discussion, I try to. I guess meanwhile I can also explain a little bit logic about like discussion. What is it, right? And so discussion typically is in university there it's divided from lecture and discussion. So the lecture was held by a professor, and the discussion is led by usually TAs and yeah, TAs PhD student. But I'm not PhD, and I'm not. But yeah, I'm not PhD student, or I'm not professor. I'm not like a teacher. So you can just call me Ken, Nathan. You don't have to call me like Mr. Prisha or anything, right? Because I'm just like 4 or 5 years older than you guys probably, hopefully. Yeah. But yeah, for the discussion, mostly the goal of it is like to have the TA explaining the concept that professor go over into the lecture, or we can give you some examples or teach you extra stuff that professor doesn't teach in the class. Like for example, I can go over with the Python and everything that you need to know for the homework or the course project. So that's like the logistic of the lecture and discussion. Yeah. And I guess like also like meanwhile, let me also switch to other stuff. Yeah. Also like I'm switching to the Edge uh, one right now. I don't know if you're not seeing the Google Edge, then just let me know. Yeah, I'm just gonna show you the CCLE page in case that you missed it. So yeah, for CCLE, you normally have your class list over here, and then everything is divided into each day, and then you have all the information, professor, our email TAs, and then emails, and then the link to the discussion, and also office hours. And yeah, this will be on the left tab. We just have everything for you necessary for you for the all the contents like the professor's lecture, and also like I'll typically I'll post my slide before the discussion so that you guys can take a look at it beforehand, or feel free to not take a look at it beforehand too. It's also fine by me. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep go over the same thing on the slide anyway. But yeah, and I'll try to uh, after the discussion end, I'll upload it onto the CCLE. I'll try to upload it as soon as possible. And yeah, a little bit about my office hours that I listed for Sunday and Saturday, just in case that people have one more time to come to my office hours and ask any questions about like the class logistic or the class materials or anything else. Yeah, so it's 6 to 7 Saturday and Sunday. Otherwise, you can also ask question on Piazza. So here's Piazza. Is another, I would say like it's another website for you to post question and stuff. Let's see. Let me see the chat. Control. There you go. We use the same link to the Sunday office hour. Yes, it will be the same link for the office hours right here, which is the same one as our discussion. That now is the moment. So yeah, this one it will be. Thank you. No problem. Yeah. So this one will be kind of more like a question answer website, so that we have more organization within it. Like you can put in a post and like ask question like, okay, how say what is data science, something like that, and then you can just clarify and everything. And then when you post it, we can like VTS can also try to answer your question, or you guys can feel free to help each other out too, because the goal of this is that we want to help connect with each other, help with each other, or try also as well as like go together as a group. I think yeah, that's pretty yeah, my thought. Yeah, these two are like the main website that we encourage you guys to use it. Let's see. Otherwise, we can also just go into my slide then. Okay. I have for group for you guys that you are in group F. Can you guys go back to the Google Sheet and then check for a Zoom link again? I think that should be fixed now. But yeah, kind of sad to see you guys go, but yeah, I'll stay on like the CCLE and post it my video, or you guys can also come to my office hours too. I'm happy to take anybody. Yeah.
Do you know what it means when it says use the third link under cohort C?
Probably mean the third column, I guess. That's what it means. Somebody said it like a third column, so it's like third link. That's probably my guess, but can you try like this one?
Okay.
All right, now we're back to our group. Let me switch to my PowerPoint. But yeah, if if I accidentally like change my screen to something else that doesn't go along with my talking, then just let me know, okay? So, all right, here's gonna be our discussion. Well, normally I try to make it more conversational rather than just one-way talking. So you guys can also feel free to like react to my jokes, to my lame joke or anything else. I'm okay with that. So maybe it's kind of more like Twitch, but not really. But hopefully it's not like all of the spam comment on the chat too. Yeah. So yeah, this is discussion C, and I said discussion section C because class C fire. Haha. But anyway, let us jump right into it, shall we? So normally when we talk about data science, we use all of the math algorithm and the math all the math behind it to like to maybe like process the data and then get some result from their data that we so we want to transform data to do something with it so that we can get some kind of objective out of it. So for example, we say like, oh, computer vision, but behind the computer vision is actually just a bunch of math behind it. So like, yeah, it's fun to say, oh, online course, we're going to do all the computer vision to image recognition, but behind the application is also about math. And the same thing as the right side, which is about like, oh, statistic, etc. And then we have all the machine learning, which is just the line equation. It still stay the same, and I would guess like it probably stay the same forever because it's math. Yeah. So like if you want to talk more specifically about the data science from data science is kind of area that stays within the machine learning, artificial intelligence or AI, and you incorporate some of the deep learning. But the main point of data science is that you want to work with the big data. For example, you want to in like YouTube, right? You want to recommend video. There are tons of gigabyte, terabyte of data, but you want somehow to find a way to process that data so that you can get a right video to recommend for some people. And the logic behind the recommendation system is all about math, and so which falls into the machine learning and AI. But AI is generally more broader. So like, guess like I just ran a little bit like, so like AI, you can talk about like, oh, the chess, the go chess, robotic, you can also try to incorporate that into data science too, but yeah, that's something for you that you probably have to study further beyond that. Okay, what are some algorithms that would work for my data? And then throughout the course, maybe I can like help you guys see the outcome clearer on what are some things that you could do with your own data, and you're gonna incorporate that into your own group project. But we might discuss your group project maybe 2 weeks in the next, no, sorry, not right, next 2 days or 3 days. Yeah, today we're just gonna have you do some introduction with the math and the data science concept first. So in general, I think of data science are mainly consists of 3 components. You have to use computer because we are lazy, so we just let computer do all the calculation. We have to use the math. We have to know what are the right math equations for you to use it, and you have to do some data analysis on, like from the lecture. You might have remember that there are some data that's skewed to the left, to the right, and there are some like outliers. What are you gonna do with the data? Are you gonna like still use it, or are you gonna remove that data, etc.? So that's basically 3 components that you need to do with your own data. So yeah, basically math is the backbone of data science and machine learning. But yeah, this is just like a gentle introduction to the data science. So for now, I also VTS also create a homework 0 for you guys to be familiar with the Python and etc. So yeah, I'll send you guys the homework link in the chat in a bit. But meanwhile, let me also correct my screen sharing too. Hold up, let me grab the link first. So yeah, the each each day we're gonna keep posting the materials, and then you can click into it. And this one is gonna be here, Google Colab. And in case that you guys don't know, Google Colab is so the level of Python is this. There's Python, and there's a Jupyter notebook which you can run the Python into it, and there's Colab which use the Jupyter notebook, and you can also share the Jupyter notebook together with each other. I guess like in the meantime, I'll go into the Google Colab and show you guys like what are the things that you should be aware of when using the Python. Let me collab. I guess meanwhile, like, can you guys put it into the chat? I want you guys to try to rate your skill from 1 to 5. Is like, what are your skill with Python? You can be honest, like I don't know anything yet. You just rate it 1, or you're like, oh, I know a little bit of Python. You can like 2, 3, 4. Anything else is fine. I just want to like have some understanding before in case that I don't want to go like too slow or too fast. Or around 3, 3, 3. Okay, so that seems good. 3, 2. I know more Python than Java, to be honest. Yeah, that's good thing. All right, 4. All right, so I guess assume that we kind of familiar. I know more Java than Python. Okay. Oops, I said wrong. Okay. No more Java than Python. Yeah. I guess in my opinion, Python is slightly easier to write, but it also has less control over the like data type and etc. But yeah, same for me though. Java gang. All right. Okay then. So I probably assume some of the concept I might like assume that you guys are familiar with it. But if not, then you can just uh, feel free to just put it in the chat or just unmute yourself and then stop me and have me to explain concept too. Let me also just open another one for myself just in case that I missed some concept. Give me like a couple minutes. Yeah. Meanwhile, if you guys don't know, yeah, I'm quite a weep, so yeah, don't mind me. Like from the poster behind me. What's your favorite show? Interesting. For now, Code Geass, but maybe Beastars. Yeah, I like anything. I actually have my show list that you guys can probably look into it. And when I introduce some projects that you guys can be done for your group project. But yeah, I don't know if you but a lot of friends do. Yeah, don't get into it, otherwise you can't get out. Yeah, all right. So for Python, let's start with this factory untrue. Yeah, yes. Well, it's kind of subjective, I guess, but yeah. All right, let's start with Python then. So typically, yeah, in computer science, you have variables and you have some assignment. Like you can assign something, any data into it. So for example, you have x is equal to 1, right? You can assign it. Now it's x going to host into 1. But for just to let you know, for a Jupyter notebook, it runs like from the bottom to down to bottom to the bottom. So then top to the bottom, yeah. So then if you say like write x is equal to 1 and then you print x, then this is fine. But well, I should say like the order of executing the module matters. So like, for example, if you say y is equal to 2 and then you have y, right? Even though you write it down, but you haven't executed it, and you just execute this fourth one, it's going to say some error like, oh, the name y is not defined. But if you run the third one first and then run the last one, so that y is initialize it. So yeah, that's something for you to keep in mind when you're working with the Jupyter notebook. All right. So yeah, in Python, let me delete this, and I'll just hide cam. Yeah, in Python, you generally it's the data type, you don't need to specify it. It can, so basically it's a dynamic. It can be held with anything. Like for example, if the variable can be held with a string, and then you try print x2. So x can be anything. X can be like the string. It can be the number. You change it to 1, 2. You don't have to like cast your data type, or change your data type or anything. Or it can be float. Anything is fine too. And also, it can also become an array or list. But generally in Python, we use the equivalent of array is list in Python. That it probably has some like limitation, but don't hold me on that. But yeah, for like easy understanding, you normally have a list like list of 1, 2, 3, and you print out the x. Then you can have a list of 1, 2, and 3. And in the list, you can also contains with anything, like also has some text within it too, or some float number. That also works fine. And yeah, in Python, if you want to, for a list, if you want to access, it will always start with index 0. So index start from 0, so that you can access the first element. And if you want to access the last element, that's a trick that you can just simply write down like -1, and it will access the last element for you. And same thing, if you -2, it's going to be second from the last, so it's going to be text, so which is here. So far, so good. Can you get some yes or some no?
Yep.
Yep. All right. But yeah, I tend to wait, so it counts up and down. Can you clarify that, New?
So if you were to put x of like, let's say 4 in this case, so what would that do in that case?
Yeah, it will
It will
show
do the same thing.
The last one, yeah, x is
Okay.
So yeah, you can do both way. So s equal to 4, or which this is the equivalent of x from the last. So it's going to say true because it's the same element. But yeah, in general, like for when you're working with data science, it's going to be like probably 100 million, probably 100,000 or a million. But you don't want to write down like 1 million, and you can keep out on 0, right? So that you can simply just, if you want to get the last element, you can just go with -1. That's like some trick that you could do.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Yep. But yeah, I guess I'll be honest that I don't expect you guys to like memorize everything, because there's a lot of things to memorize within one section. So just try to like play around with it, get familiar with it, or if you have any question, just Google it. To be honest, that's also my best resource as well when I like stuck on everything. Just Google like, well, how do you do this, do that with the list, etc. But yeah, okay. So let me also go with this. So in home. But yeah, you guys can also just look along with their homework 0 as well. If you want to, yeah, keep going alongside with me, I try to like elaborate everything inside the homework 0 so that I can explain more rather than, just throw the homework 0 to you guys and then have you guys run it. It's going to be boring, maybe, I don't know. Hopefully not with my section. Yeah. So yeah, that's just in Python. You can also use the if else statement. So the syntax is you have if else statement and you have some kind of statement that you want to check, and in this one you're going to have some code on it that you want to execute, like print a, and yeah, a is not defined. A is equal to 0. Let me try this one. Yeah, it's a equal to 0, but this one doesn't show print out because it's a is 0, which is less than 10, and then you can print out a. And for Python, you have to keep in mind with the space before it, that everything is within the same tab. For example, so in general, the syntax of Python is this: if you have some kind of statement, condition, station, or some kind of condition, you have to indent one time, so that everything inside here is fall into this statement block. Otherwise, it would also show some error, like for example, print C. You just show error like unexpected indent. So you have to put that inside there, one indent. But if you say you indent it, you don't indent it and just keep it to the most left, it will still run it. But if I change my statement to a is greater than 10, so now a is 0, so 0 is greater than 10, which is false. It's gonna only run print C, but it doesn't run these two statements. So yeah, that's something for you to keep in mind with the syntax of Python. And yeah, you have if, and you also have the else statement. Generally, you write down like if else if is greater than 20 or something. But in Python, you can just write the shorthand notation, which is just elif, and you can like print ABC. And this one you have else, and then semicolon, and then print X, something like that. All right. So that handles the conditional statement, and you have all the for loop and while loop. So the loop, just to remind us, the loop is that you can run the same command for X amount of time. So it also divide into for loop and while loop as well. But the difference is that while loop runs forever, but for loop you generally have some kind of endpoint that you want to run the commands for X amount of time. And in Python, you generate the syntax normally is this for I in range. Like say you want to run it 10 times, you just go 10 and then say print 1. And then when you run it, it's gonna print out 10 times. But for while loop, yeah, you can basically just while true, you just print 2, and it will keep going. It's not this true, it's capital T. Yeah, it will keep running 2 forever and ever until you stop it. So yeah, that's like the for loop and while loop. And FYI, if you're not familiar with the concept in, so I can like also further elaborate. Like if you write down range 10, it's gonna give you a list. It should be, is it X range? No, but yeah, generally the range is gonna give you a list of 1, 2, 3 until further up until X number. So this one is gonna be 10. And then for I in range is that goes through every one of the element in the list. For example, like this one, because for I in range 10, so it can print out 1, get access to the element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you write down the print variable I, it also prints out, let me comment on when it is. Print out 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, it starts from 0, my bad. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 9. So that's like the in keyword that you should keep in mind of, because the keyword in you might be, it might be useful for you. Wait, so what are we gonna submit as homework? I know it's gonna kind of sound dumb, but you guys just run the program and then save it as PDF and submit it. Yeah, it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of too easy, I guess, or too straightforward. So yeah, it's kind of have you play around with it to be familiarized with the Python and what it can do, and also refresh your memory. Yeah.
Wait, Nathan, could you repeat that? Because you kind of glitched out for a second. What was the homework?
Yeah, for the homework, for the homework 0, if you want to short the list word that you want to do, just run it, print, and then submit it as a PDF. But in generally, for homework 0 is that we want you guys to set up your Google Colab and then play around with Python, and then look at the Python and what can you do with the Python. How do we save it as PDF? So there are 2 ways. You can simply just print it as PDF and then that's it. But generally it's kind of ugly because you don't have the module and etc. It doesn't divide up into the section beautifully. So my recommendation is that you download as a Python notebook and you just Google it. I find notebook to PDF. Any of these works. Yeah, you just go in, choose your file, and then it will convert for PDF, which this one, in my opinion, it will look slightly better. Wait, not this, not like this. Let me see, view and convert. Please disable ad block. But yeah, anyway, if you convert it to PDF like this, I can also show you.
Oh, I think you have it set to return it in HTML instead of PDF.
Yeah.
Results form.
Thanks.
Yeah, HTML plus PDF.
I have to go into all the stuff, but yeah, anyway, if you convert it to the PDF, it will have more organization, which looks slightly better than if you print straight up print it from here. But yeah, that's 2 ways that you can print your notebook into the PDF. Are we clear? Let's continue. So yeah, we also, for Python, when you declare a function, you just go with the keyword def and then function name. and then use some other parameter like a, b, and then you just do something with a function, and you just simply call it like that. Give it a sec. So yeah, that's the Python. That's the Python version of it, and keep in mind with the indentation too. It has to indent in there within the same amount. Otherwise, it will give you some error. And let me check with homework 0 if there's anything else that you need to know. Yeah, let's move into some more advanced concept then. Generally, we're programmer, we are lazy, so then we don't write down everything. We don't write functions for everything, right? So then you simply just use some kind of public library. So this one is NumPy library, NumPy NP, which is a popular math library that you can use to work around with your data, work around with your matrix or vector. So let me see. Yeah, so like for example, in NumPy notebook, NumPy library, you have in Python you have a list. NumPy you can also have its own list as well. So for example, you have a is equal to NumPy array, and here's going to be the list of it, like 1, 2, 3. And if you print out a, it's going to be the same. It's going to show us the list of 1, 2, 3, right? And then, but if you want to do some kind of transformation or math equation, math operation with it, you can also just simply write down some math operation like times 3 into the list. But you can also do some more advanced concept as well. Like for example, this one can be called NumPy and dot product of A and A together, which you can multiply the element together. Like for example, one it's gonna be like 1 times 1 plus 2 times 2 plus 3 times 3, and it's gonna give you. Let me write down some comments like 1 times 1 plus 2 times 2 plus 3 times 3, right? Which gives you 14. Instead of like we write down like, oh, 4i in like the A first list and then J in last list. This is not a real code, right? But yeah, I just want to show some example. Instead of a code like I times J, blah, 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 you can just use the NumPy library and then do the math operation for you. And some other useful NumPy functions that you probably need, or you mostly need it, because that's going to be very helpful. Let me also modify some of their stuff real quick. So this is 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9. So you have some commands that you can check how the array looks like. For example, this NumPy, because you're gonna go into the NumPy object, which is A for now. We call it a.shape. It's gonna give you the row and the column of the NumPy array. So there's gonna be 3 rows and 3 columns. So generally, like when you import your data from some public data, you want to see like what's the dimension of what's the dimension of the data. You just print out like something dot shape, and then you just like 100 by 200 or something like that, so that you can be more familiarized with their data. And let me check if there's anything to. But yeah, if you look into the homework 0, it's gonna show us like there are some NumPy 0, which is gonna give you a list of 0 by X amount of number. Like for example, like 200 is going to return you a numpy array of zeros, list a bunch of lists of zeros, 200 zeros. But that's something for you that you can also look up if you feel you don't know what to do. You can look up on Google, as I said. It's definitely your best friend. And but yeah, the main concept is this: use numpy. It's very helpful for your math operation. Other than that, let me skip to other thing. But yeah, now I'm going to introduce the pandas library, which normally used for let me think of a word for it. I guess like handle data manipulation. So it really becomes very helpful for you if you have, say, let me see if I can get some CSV data. I think this, let me see. Yeah. So generally you will be given with some kind of data like this, and you want to find a way to, like, say, access your data, and that shows like, yeah, if you want to say get the element that has Leonardo DiCaprio, sure, you can convert everything into a NumPy array and then you find a way to manipulate it, but the pandas library will be provide some of the functions that can be helpful for you and save up your time. So like if you want to use panda, you use pandas, import panda, and the SPD is just a shorter name for it, so that when you get some function of it, like function name, instead of write down like pandas dot function name, you can just go with PD for a shorter version. And let me see if I don't think there's any more information with their homework 0, if I recall, about panda. But yeah, so yeah, for the pandas, you just import it, and then you typically have some file that you want to read it. So you just call something like read CSV. If you don't know like what's the functionality of each one, don't worry about it for now. You'll be more familiarized when you work on other homework. But this one, we just want to introduce some of the libraries that you can use for your homework or your project. And here are some of their functions or methods, as we call it, that you can look into the data. Did I lose it? Did I lose it, guys? It shows up my data is unstable. But yeah, just pause me or anything if there's any issue. So yeah, if you ask me, I don't expect you guys to memorize everything here. It's just to, you can just read it and then knows that, oh, what are the things that it can do for you, and then if you don't recall it, or you generally you just Google it and see if that's some of their stuff that shows to you. But yeah, generally the pandas, if you click on the resources, it shows all the functionality that you can do, and you can probably like look it up or Google it. That's probably the easiest way. I hope that doesn't really skip a lot. But yeah, the main point is that pandas is useful. Pandas is useful. Yeah, just 3 words. Other than that, we also have, okay, in data science, normally you want to visualize. That's probably the best way for you to explain to somebody. So just use visualize. Just visualize it, and you use the matplotlib library to plot some kind of data to show your result instead of like print out the result, right? And again, as I said, don't worry about it, I guess. Yeah, don't worry about it if you're not sure like what each one does. Try you can look it up later, that how what it does for each line and how you plot it. What's if you're gonna plot it, what should you put into the x-axis, y-axis, etc., etc. I don't want to get into too many information at the moment. But the matplotlib, basically you use matplotlib to plot the data and show us the result. All right. And if you're stuck again, just Google. Oops, here. And one last library that I want to introduce to you guys, which is sklearn. Sklearn is our scikit-learn, which is a module for machine learning, and it has all. I think it has every machine learning algorithm that we will learn in this class, so then you guys will get to use it later. But for today, we just introduced the base concept for the Python, and just to let you know that everything that we learn in the class can be used with sklearn, as they provide all the libraries for us. And I think we will learn it tomorrow or the next 2 days, but yeah. But that's about it for this homework and the Python. Normally, when you have a Jupyter notebook, you want to copy to your Google account instead of running it here, because it might have some like accident that you run it and then it shows up, or it cause some error if you would try to like modify it here and then run it, and then but then the later module will cause some error for other people. So yeah, I want to ask you guys to maybe copy to drive or save a copy in drive over here, and then take a look at it, run it, try to play around with it if you're still unfamiliar with the libraries and stuff. And once you're done, just either print it or again goes to Google, like Jupyter Notebook, apply notebook to PDF, something like that, and then just convert it to PDF, comes to CCLE, and then submit it, and then you're done. Free extra credit. And I don't think I have anything else. But yeah, one last thing for me, I guess, says that Python, you generally use Python, you use math, and you have to analyze your data. That's like 3 main components for your data science. And I think that is it for my lecture, but my discussion, I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, I don't have anything on plan right now for today. So yep, that's it. You guys are dismissed. You guys can log off and work on your own. Otherwise, see you guys tomorrow. I'm happy to stay here to answer any question as well. It's gonna be, yeah, generally I try to make it within 2 hours, hopefully. But yeah, and after I finish it, I just ends the discussion, and then turns into office hours where you guys can also like talk to me or ask any question. But yeah, a little bit of logistics that for other day. For every other day, I'll try to post my slide over here from my discussion. See over here, and then I put in the template version and the pre-class annotation, this version as well. And I'll try to also annotate within the discussion hour as well. So this one is like pre-class annotation. So in case that you guys want to take a look beforehand to get familiarized with the concept, I'll post that on. And then if you can also come with a question, or you can, you don't have to look at it, and I'll still explain everything else too within here too. But just in case that you guys are quite energetic to look at it first, yeah, this is gonna be tomorrow. This is gonna be tomorrow with the materials. Otherwise, you guys feel free to go.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Mm.